Hello?
Hi, how are you?
All right, all right. I'm here to debate on why women should not be in the kitchen.
Okay.
So after marriage, I have a
Stream
question.
went down on. All right, are we back up on YouTube? Yeah. On Myron Gaines X? Yes. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So 50% of marriages in the United States end up in divorce, correct?
Roughly. Yeah.
Yes. So 82% of men in marriages ask for prenups. If you search up that statistic, it is true. What do you expect women whose only capability is being in the kitchen and cleaning to do after that divorce with the prenup? And they
Okay.
don't have any assets or money given to them.
Sure. Good question. Well, the family laws actually were written with that taken into account. This is why men get destroyed in divorces a lot of times nowadays, because what's happened is the family court system was created specifically to protect women from that very problem that you mentioned. She devotes her life to him, devotes her life to the family, to the kids, etc. And they don't want it where he rug pulls her, leaves with everything, and she's destitute. So that's why alimony, child support, all of these things were put into place to protect women from that. The problem, though, is that the laws haven't caught up to feminism and progressivism giving women, equal rights and equal ability to earn. So I would say, number one, it's not probable that your husband's going to leave you. It's actually, there's a whole phrase, it's cheaper to keep her. It comes from the concept that it's cheaper for a guy to simply just stay married versus divorce his wife. Most women initiate divorce, like 90%. So I would say there's safeguards in there to kind of deal with the problem that you mentioned, which I get it is a viable concern, but the family court deals with it.
So you believe that even though men may not leave their women because it's cheaper, a woman should stay in her marriage. Let's say he cheated, let's say other issues, because there are other reasons for marriage other than the men specifically leaving the woman.
Yeah. So your question is, do they cheat, or what do you?
No, I'm saying that, for example, a woman might have to leave under her own circumstances, not because the men believes that the marriage shouldn't end because it's cheaper. A woman might leave in any other way.
Yeah.
So when she's out in the world, she cannot get a job because she had not get a college education, and her only experience was working in a kitchen because that is what some men like you believe she should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is that if she leaves, that's her personal decisions, that she's got to deal with the consequences of that, right? Like if she's going to go ahead and break up her family and leave her husband, there's going to be negative consequences to that, right? Like, I didn't see any complaints for the 10 years where she was with him and she didn't have to work and she was able to kind of chill and, live a certain lifestyle. But then she wants to leave and be able to say, okay, well, I don't want to deal with negative consequences of breaking up my family. And I think that's kind of the bad part is women prioritize their happiness in a relationship over their duty. And they'll leave because they're not happy.
Do you believe happiness should be considered whether it's in domestic abuse situations? Let's say your husband abuses his wife. Do you believe the woman should stay there in that relationship, which could cause trauma to the child because of the family's happiness?
Now, obviously, you're being specific with domestic violence. Though that does occur, it's not the majority of reasons, right? It just comes down to women just not being. Well, here's the thing. Let's have a very honest conversation here. A lot of these phrases are bullshit. Oh, verbal abuse. Oh, emotional abuse. It can literally be him saying, yo, you need to do X, Y, Z, or him critiquing her. And she'll say that's verbal abuse. The problem is that we've basically conflated valid criticism or anything that needs to be said in a relationship to keep it going as abuse. And we tend to defer to what women say and believe them on at face value for everything that they say. So what's ended up happening is women don't really take accountability in relationships anymore, and everything is verbal abuse or I'm being assaulted or verbal assaults I've heard. Like stupid shit like this. He might say, hey, you know what? I need you to do X, Y, Z. She'll look at that as this is abusive. So not only has it been where we've created like this weird environment where women want to go ahead and destroy relationships, we've also created stupid vernacular to kind of try to criminalize or pejoratively label constructive criticisms or healthy conversations within relationships. Because in other words, the man is always wrong. The woman is always right.
So I feel like you're kind of deflecting my point. I'm talking about in a scenario that there is domestic abuse and
For
it
sure.
is in fact
Then yeah,
true.
she should leave. If she's being assaulted, she should leave.
Yes.
But that is not the majority.
Okay, but let's say there is a woman who in this scenario
Sure.
is.
Yeah.
You do believe that she should stay in the kitchen. This woman,
Well, if he's beating her ass, then no.
obviously,
Yeah.
she goes into the real world with a child because obviously no woman is going to leave her child with an abuser with no experience, no job, no degree. no woman is going to survive in that world because we live in an economy where things are extremely expensive, where you do need a degree to survive unless you're going to marry again.
Well,
and most men don't marry middle-aged women with children who are struggling. And that's the realistic
scenario. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of simps out there. You'd be surprised.
And
there's a lot of simps out there that would do that. Again, I see the specific scenario you're mentioning. Yes, if a guy's beating his wife's ass, yeah, she should leave. But that isn't the majority of the situations. A lot of times it's the woman feels like I could do better, I'm bored, or, I just don't feel the spark anymore. We grew apart. All these bullshit phrases that women use to justify breaking up with a guy because they're not happy anymore, and they leave. So it's not the DV like you're claiming. That could be a part of it, but that's a minority.
Also, men are more commonly in marriages to commit infertility than women. So
to commit what?
Infertility, that means cheating. Do you believe that a woman
Infidelity, you mean? Like
infidelity.
cheating?
Do you believe that a woman should stay?
Okay, I think
Do you
she
believe
means infidelity.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you believe a woman should stay in the marriage?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. I think a very realistic thing that women need to understand is that men are naturally promiscuous and non-monogamous. So I think to be with a guy for 10 years and then throw it away because he cheated on you with some chick that he doesn't care about, I think that's very stupid for a woman to do.
So can a woman cheat on her man?
No, that makes you a whore.
How come if a woman's putting all this effort into raising the children, into putting all the house that the man cannot do, why can't she cheat then? If the man's not there, if he's always working?
It's simple, because men have to earn their value and women are born with their value.
So women aren't allowed to go and earn their values themselves? Because they're saying they're not allowed to be going out earning their values, but they have to stick there with this value that's given to them by society.
No, well, again, men and women are not equal. We got to start there. Men and women are not equal whatsoever, okay?
Okay.
So because what you're referring to is you're talking about like blank slate equalism. Men and women are equal and you're kind of operating from there. That's a fallacy. There's no blank slate equalism. Men and women are very different. For example, how old are you?
I'm 16.
What the fuck? 16? Why are you dressed like that?
Okay. That's not the question. And I'm still right.
No, dude, that's the problem right there. Like that's an issue. That's a big issue. No, it's not about that. This proves my point. Why are, holy crap. 16-year-old girls should be at home, right? Studying. No, I don't, actually. I don't. Because this, you actually just made my argument for me just now. You just made my argument for me just now by doing that.
I just want to say the last girl ate down. Where you said a point where, women should be in the kitchen. Well, first of all, I'm from Ireland and I have a podcast called Get the Gist. Follow the vibes. But yeah.
No. I'm just over here I always say privilege is invisible to those that have it. Do you think a 16-year-old guy would be able to get certain things in life? Not at all. They're invisible. Nobody gives a fuck, right? So that right there, her being able to come on the mic and say all these things or whatever it may be, that proves my point that men and women live different lives completely.
No, I feel like a 16-year-old boy, if he was educated enough, could come on and speak his mind.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. What's your
no, you said
discussion?
Women should stay in the kitchen?
Yes.
But to be honest,
or in her case, stay at home.
Oh, we're not talking about her now because
Yeah.
she ate down. We're moving on to me. So you said that women should be in the kitchen. I think cooking is a life skill, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Everyone should learn how to cook, to be honest. So that's my, counter argument to your point.
Everyone should learn how to cook?
Yeah, it's a life skill.
Sure. But that doesn't refute that women should still be in the kitchen.
It's a life skill. Where do you cook?
So this is what I'm saying. When men deal with women, right, we have to bring a lot of value to the table.
Okay.
Okay?
Everyone brings value.
No, women really don't. And I'll explain why.
To you.
Okay, who's pickier, men or women?
1 second. Do you have a missus? Do you have a girl?
That's irrelevant to the question.
No, I just want to know context.
I'm asking you.
I want to get to know you.
That's irrelevant. We're having an objective discussion.
Okay.
I'm asking you. Who's pickier, men or women?
Men are so picky. Men who know their value anyways. Men who have worth or have self-worth, they are very picky.
Okay.
Yeah.
In general,
Yeah.
who's pickier, men or women of the opposite gender?
Women aren't picky, to be honest. Women need 3 things. What the main thing women need in this life is to feel safe.
Okay, again, the question is,
Yeah.
who is pickier?
Men.
Okay, see, we can't even have a real conversation because that's biologically incorrect.
Why is it biologically incorrect?
Because women have far more standards for men than men have of women.
But to be honest, like, would you say you're a man that's making money and like, you know, is doing well?
Yes.
You'd be picky with you look picky.
But I got in a position where I can afford to be picky now.
Exactly. Women have gone to the position to feel picky.
No, they're
be
not.
picky.
A woman could be 18 years old and be picky and brought nothing to the table. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
But can I tell you something? I think it's how you view it, because you can be 16 and be picky. Like you can be like, you know what? Yeah, I actually want a poodle instead of a Rottweiler. You can actually be picky. Like that was a very lazy example, but you can be picky too. I think being picky is very subjective. Everyone.
Okay, let's go through this because I don't know if you're debating in bad faith if you can't make simple biological concessions on the discussion.
Okay,
it's very simple.
Biological, right? So
yes.
men, woman.
Yes.
Coochie, penis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because everything starts there.
Right.
So once we start there, that men and women are different. They're not the same.
Okay, so
let's go
difference
into
from
you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Sorry.
Because I'm trying to explain the concept here and why you're not correct.
Okay, go on.
Men and women are different.
Yes.
Men are looked at as protectors, providers, leaders.
Yeah.
Women are looked at as nurturers, and they want a man that's stronger than them, that's going to take care of them. So in other words, women have far more requirements of men than men have of women. Okay? Women are more selective. Why? Because they carry children.
Yeah.
They can only bring one child to term per year. So when they do have a seed put in them, they need to make sure it's from the best man that they can get. Women want quality, men want quantity.
Yeah.
Okay? So since women want quality, by definition, okay, they're more selective than men are.
Right.
Okay? So what I'm saying is, since men don't ask for much, what we really ask for, the things matter less. Or sorry, excuse me, the things matter more.
Right.
So since we don't ask for much, we want peace, maybe some food, you to not be a whore.
Right.
3 things really.
Yeah.
Each of those things have way more weight.
Yeah.
So what I'm arguing is if a woman can't be in the kitchen and cook, she's effectively significantly more useless because we don't ask for much.
Okay.
Whereas a guy, he can be ugly, but he can make up for that in other ways.
Yeah.
He could go ahead and get money. He could be charming. He could be charismatic. He can have some status. Men can make up for their lack of sexual market value.
Okay.
Women really can't. If you're a whore or you're ugly or you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're effectively
crazy.
Useless.
Those
because
words
men
are
and women are
crazy.
not the same with how we mate select.
Okay.
Okay, that's very important. Since we mate select in completely different ways, we look for different things.
Yeah.
So when a woman can't cook or isn't in the kitchen, a part of her duties, she's basically absolving. So
Okay.
why am I even with her?
To be honest, like a woman should learn how to cook as a man should. But obviously you said, back to biology, back in the olden days, women were gatherers, men were hunters.
Okay,
It was
let me
kind
ask
of
you a
more like
question
a
real
team.
fast. Let me ask
I'm
you a
not
question.
done because I let you land.
Hold on.
So I'm not
Hold
done.
on.
Let me.
No. Because
let
I'm
me
gonna
land,
test your
'cause I
logic
let
here.
you. Okay, go on.
Let me test your logic. Because you said a man should learn how to cook anyway. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you go to boxing class, right?
Okay.
And you train to fight,
Yeah.
right? Someone comes up and assaults you when you're there with your boyfriend.
Assaults me.
Yeah. So
Like
some
how?
guy,
Headlock.
yeah, he hits you, right? He
Like
hits you.
in the face, in the belly.
Well, I mean, he hits you. I'm just this is just
It
a
depends.
scenario here.
Cause like if it's in the belly, I can take it. If it's the eye, I can't take it.
All right, he hits you, right?
Okay.
Are you gonna what if your man looks at you and says, "Oh, well, you know how to fight. You got this one." No,
Yeah.
you would want him to do what he's supposed to do, which is protect you, right?
No, but like to be honest, that example was kind of like 2 out of 10 because if we're in a boxing ring, like that shit's supposed to happen. Maybe if we're in a supermarket, like what you guys have Target here, we have Lidl in Europe. If it was at the shopping mall, then like I understand where my man needs to.
This is precisely why women need to be in the kitchen. They can't grasp logically sound analogies. Like
No,
this
but
is
like
why.
no, but to be honest with you, I'm expressing an opinion. I respected your opinion, even though I might not agree with it. So if I'm talking, you can acknowledge it instead of diminishing it. Because like, can I tell you what your problem is? You saying women shouldn't be in the kitchen. That's not the problem. Women being in the kitchen, like that's what women were actually grown up to do. They're supposed to take care of babies and be in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's more so your tone and like the vibes that you do deliver it in. You know what I mean? You might be a chill guy. You're actually a chill guy, but the way you deliver it may be the problem. But yeah, like obviously you didn't acknowledge my like point.
So
Do you remember
I
my
guess-
point?
So it's how I said it versus what I said.
Okay.
Is that the problem? That's
No,
the issue?
No, yeah, I think your delivery maybe. However, like, do you know how to cook yourself?
Okay,
Wait,
let's
where you-
address
no, what's your-
the
wait, no,
delivery.
Can I talk, please? Because I let you land. Where are you from? No, I just need to know culture-wise. Culture is important. Context to the conversation.
All right, let me address your point on the tone and delivery.
Yeah.
I think the truth is the truth, regardless of how it's delivered. Now,
Facts.
this is something that I've noticed exclusively with women that I don't really deal with men. Women are more concerned with how the information is conveyed versus the information that's conveyed.
Yeah, but however, if you're in a job interview, like you're gonna obviously talk. Okay, yeah, like I'd love this job because I want to work hard. Dead ass, you just need money. You don't really care about they don't really they care about your qualifications. They want you to talk, but these times you're there for money. Like if you didn't need a job, you wouldn't have a job. You wouldn't go to the interview. So delivery is actually very important.
It's not really analogous to what the
To
example,
you.
but yeah.
Are you tired of me already? Okay,
This is why women need to be in the kitchen. Like I mean, bro, like this is like you can't grasp.
Wait, but can I ask you, like, can you cook yourself?
They can't grasp simple concepts. Like
okay, I'm asking you. I've answered your questions. You haven't answered my questions.
no,
Can
because
you cook? Can you cook, baby? He's tired of me, guys. Woo!
Look,
Thank you.
I said this before. You saying, "Oh, both parties should be able to cook."
Yeah.
That's fine. I understand that.
Perfect.
But that's why I gave you the example. You know how to box. You're out with your guy.
Yeah.
A guy hits you.
in the boxing ring.
No, you're out and about. You know how to box. You know how to defend yourself. But you
Okay.
still expect your man. It's his job
To be honest,
protect you.
love with expectations is not. So I don't really expect anything from people. I do maybe expect common human decency. However, like if I'm walking on the street in Miami, I'm from Ireland. Nobody knows me from anywhere. If someone punches me on the street, I take that shit on the chin. To be honest. Are you tired of me already? Why are you not talking anymore?
You don't make any sense, and you're not staying on topic. I told you before, because your argument is men and women should
I'm
both be able to
replying
cook.
to you.
Cool. Men and women should be able to cook.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you knew how to box and defend yourself,
Yes.
and some guy came in and assaulted you, you would still expect your man to step up and protect
don't-
you, despite the fact that you can defend
You're
yourself.
just assuming I'd
So-
expect. What if I don't?
You would.
No.
Because the reality is, even though you can defend yourself,
Yeah.
you're physically inferior to that man most of the time. So you're going to expect your guy, who is going to be physically capable, or at least more physically capable than you, to do that because that's his job as a protector provider. Same thing with women. So when I say, oh, I might be able to cook, however, you're a woman, it's your duty to do that traditionally, just like it's the guy's duty traditionally to protect you, even though you could defend yourself. That's my point. Just because I can do it and capable doesn't mean that I should when I have a woman there. And if she doesn't do it, she's useless. That's my point. Women are there to nurture their guy, take care of their guy, despite the fact that he might be able to cook on his own. Here's the problem. Women like to obfuscate and deflect from their duties. And this is quite frankly why we have the problems that we have now. Because women will sit there and say, oh, I am, I'm equal to my guy. I don't want to observe these duties. However, I still want you to be tall. I still want you to make money. I still want you to be a protector and a provider. That's a bullshit fucking deal for the guys. So I tell guys, if your girl isn't willing to be submissive, obey you, be in the kitchen, not question your authority, get her out of here. Because I'll be honest with you. Just having this discussion with you right now is making me get gray hair. And that's not how this should be. But this is what feminism has done. It's made women think that their nonsensical arguments that don't make any logically sound sense matter. They don't. This is why for the longest time we said women are to be seen, not be heard, because most women don't understand logic and rationale. This is what it is. Like I gave a very simple concept there, and you're like, well, and it's like that doesn't make sense.
To be honest with you, can I be real?
Yeah, sure.
You haven't memorized any of. You haven't said any of my points or remembered them. My point was the first thing I said was cooking is a life skill, but you're saying that doesn't make any logical sense. Why does it make any logical sense?
No, I said a man can have that life skill of cooking.
Yeah.
But when he gets a woman,
Yeah.
that should be
He
taken
should
over
forget
by
the
the female.
He should forget the life skill.
No, he can keep the life skill, but she
Okay.
should be the one handling it.
Okay.
Just like you know how to fight and defend yourself, it's a life skill.
Yeah.
But if something were to happen and someone were to assault you, he should be stepping up and doing what he's doing because that's his job. See, the reality is, and women don't like to understand this, there's roles in relationships.
Yeah.
I'm just finally holding women's feet to the fire and say you need to hold on to your roles. Because you guys still expect us to make money. You guys still expect us to be funny. You guys still expect us to protect you. But then you want to sit there and be like, well, I don't want to be in the kitchen. Well, fuck you. Get out of here. I tell guys all the time, if a woman doesn't obey you and do what she's supposed to do, don't date her.
So basically, what I would say is, right?
It's not a good deal for us.
No, I understand you. And I appreciate your point. What I was gonna say was, usually these kind of mindsets, they actually kind of like come from like upbringing. So was your mom in the kitchen growing up?
Yes,
Okay. And
Yes.
your dad, what was your dad doing?
he was working.
Okay, cool. Did you ever okay, so have you talk to your mom about this point? How did she feel about it? And not from like you're trying to convince her, but like how she thought about the whole experience, like, you know, in the household.
You know, it's funny. I love when women bring this up. You want to know who taught me this?
Who?
No, it's my mom.
Really? But
yes.
yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you, where are you from?
See, because I grew up,
because usually like cultures like are very strict with women have been in the kitchen. So I
grew up in a traditional nuclear
So
family
did I.
where both parents, my mom knew her job, my dad knew his job, and my mom was the one that told me, if a woman doesn't want to cook and clean for you, she's not worthy of a serious relationship. So in other words, they need to do their fucking job, just like the man's supposed to do his job. But we live in this crazy world where women pick and choose what jobs they want to take on.
But can I tell you something as well? Is it the woman's fault though? You see how the world is right now? Like perspectives have changed. Like people are like not doing things they used to do in the, like, let's say for example, we come from hunter gatherers, right? And in the household, there's traditional roles, women in the kitchen, men working. But we know we live in a whole world where, you know, you get to walk around and call women hoes and stuff like that. That wasn't allowed back in the days. Do you get me?
Because
word
women weren't
wasn't
hoes
like,
back then.
Huh?
Because women weren't hoes back then.
To be honest, like I think there's been hoes for centuries.
For sure.
However, you can openly as a man come out in the street of this Miami and say this on a mic in front of people. But you know what? Yeah, I respect that you have a strong mind. A lot of people don't have that. Thank you guys. Get the Just Podcast. Follow.
No problem.